Hello, my name is Isaiah Bora, and this is my lovely audience. And this is my speech about the crazy life of Larry Ellis, who dropped out of college, 2 different colleges, and still manages to own 98% of the Hawaiian island, Lani. He had struggles in his early life, but still managed to achieve greatness and made a groundbreaking relational database and invested and bought various different tech companies. In his early life, he was born to a single mother, and when at 9 months old, he got pneumonia and she couldn't take care of him anymore, so she gave him away to his aunt and uncle in Chicago, who then raised him. And then later, he went to the University of Illinois, where he dropped out after a couple years. And then he tried going to college again to the University of Chicago, but only dropped out after 1 semester. He then traveled all the way over to California as Turquoise Thunderbird because he thought that would make a good impression in his new life. And he worked at various tech companies until he met quite a few colleagues, where he then made the Software Development Laboratories Company. And then they got a contract from the CIA to make a database, which they made a relational database, which at the time was very bleeding edge technology. There was somebody who just was writing papers on it, so they decided to go with it and make one. They made, which was called Oracle, because the contract was given the code name Oracle, so they named the database after it, and later the company would be renamed to Oracle Corporations. And then it was also the first database to use SQL, which is standard query language, which is it's standard across every single database used nowadays. They all have some slight variation of SQL. And he was also looking at making a network computer to try and compete with Microsoft. They wanted it was an early version of cloud computing, which is everywhere now. At the time, it didn't work out well, and Larry said it was way ahead of its time. So then he later would start to purchase companies. Oracle purchased PeopleSoft, Sebel, BEA, Sun Microsystems. And they acquired these because he all thought that they had value and were making valuable products. So he purchased them all up. He then also would invest into companies himself. He invested into it, who used to be actually underneath him, Mark Benoff. He created Salesforce.com. He invested into that, which was a good payout for him because it netted him $200 million. And then he also invested into NetSuite, which later Oracle would buy, which would then net him $3.5 billion, which is a good chunk of change. And then this is just how he gained his wealth and became one of the wealthiest people. And that is just how he made this great life. He would start yachting and sponsor all kinds of things because he had all this money. He'd start doing leisure activities. And even though his early life brought him struggles, he still managed to turn around and make a groundbreaking relational database and invest in all these companies and bring the tech industry up with him. And maybe one day we could all be successful like Larry Ellis. Thank you. My audience.